great place to start this tour of Halifax. I finally got in at 2:30 in the morning. It's now 8 o'clock in the morning, so I've got very little sleep. But this is the Citadel. They had, it's a fortress, and this is the clock tower. It's supposed to be visible from all over the city originally. Of course, now they've built up so much. And I missed the gala dinner last night at the Citadel, which is the fort that's off to the right. I'll try to get up there today and do some video up there. But this is Halifax, and all that noise. Ah, finally that truck is. We got a garbage truck making all that noise. Anyway, welcome to Halifax. Well, we've been driving about 2 hours along the south shore to this is Mahone Bay, and the tide is out, and guys have been giving us a lot of information about the area. Must have been glacial. I haven't been able to ask any questions. I've been actually dozing on and off because I'm still trying to collect from the lack of sleep. But this is the Mahone Bay, they said, and 3 beautiful little churches right in a row here. And this is Nova Scotia. Well, we're here in a little village of Lundberg. The population's about 2,300, and we've come down to this beautiful little restored church. Church burned, 3/4 of it burned to the ground in 2005, and the congregation decided that they would restore it to the original glory that it was in. So they had to smash out all the stained glass to put water in, trying to save the building when it was burning. Beautiful stained glass. Like the stars up in the above the altar. This is an Anglican church.
The ceiling and the chancel, the stars and the sky. Before the fire, of course, that was there. You knew there was a blue background and there were stars, but they were dulled over time.
This is Ralph Guy talking, if you can hear him.
When they put the chancel back, they realized that there seems to be some kind of a constellation here. There's something, this is not just a random child painting the sky. So they brought down an astronomer from St. Mary's University Planetarium, and he couldn't answer the question right away as to that constellation. So he went away back home and did some background work, and he came back and determined that what you're seeing here now would have been what you would have seen had you been standing in Lunenburg over 2,000 years ago and facing to the eastward at sunset on the night when Christ was born. That's what the sky looked like. It's a special sky. And of course, the people
Quarter off to the back.
They knew the constellation, they knew the stars, and would be able to tell an artist what to do. Notice the altar forward has a scorch mark down at the bottom, so when the timbers fell down, they were able to take the altar and some of the plaques and so forth out of the building before the fire, two fire plants. But many of the pews had scorch marks on the top. As I mentioned, all the windows were broken out to pump water in here. They set up a pump down at the harbour to pump water from the harbour up here to try and put it on the fire. When the fire was out, the parishioners went beside each of the windows and gathered up all the shards of the glass so they got the right colour, the texture, and the thickness of the glass. And Sackler's glass from West Lothian, the German people who built the glassworks, they recreated what you see here. If they could, they put the old pieces, the shards that were found, were put back. So you notice there's a different color green up there.
And this is the detail of the outside of that little church we were just in. Really beautifully done. They did a wonderful job of restoring it so that it wasn't just a pile of new building. No. But and I'll swing over this way, and there's a lady. You can definitely work in the tourist trade here. Well, we've been hearing about the Lindenberg bump. It's the way they do these windows that kind of bump out of the upper floor, and so this is unique to this area, and we see this in a lot of the different houses. So they got 400 buildings in the downtown area that are built in the 18th century. So they've been trying to care for these things and keep them going. The thing I notice is they seem to have an awful lot of problem with keeping paint on stuff, which I would just assume is because of the weather. It seems like they got peeling paint everywhere. But the Lindenberg bump. Well, here I'll give you a little pan around downtown Lundberg. This is Old Town, and they said that years ago all the buildings would have been white with black trim, but then they started kind of opening things up and being a little more open, and so they've allowing to paint them wild colors, and really makes it a much more interesting view than just, hey, look, more white and black. But and this is their fishing museum over here, and so I'm going to head over that direction. The group is all having lunch, so I just got some, as you know, ice cream for lunch, and then I'm swinging out. This is the harbor, or the bay, or whatever you want to call it. I think they said that's a golf course across the all the green. So this is downtown Lundberg. They're really set up for tourists. Today, after seeing what they're doing here, I'm thinking Chagrin Falls could do the same thing, lead tours, and because it's, you know, yeah, it's got the water, but Chagrin's got the river, and it's got all of the old buildings. So. Well, we have come out here to Peggy's Cove. I think I'm going to be completely blasted away by the wind. It's whipping about 40-45 miles an hour. I'm going to get up. I'm just going to take and pan you around. I don't know if this is actually Peggy's Cove. Okay, here's the story of Peggy's Cove. Legend has it that this woman survived a shipwreck and washed up on shore here, was found by a fisherman, and she couldn't remember who she was. All she knew is her name was Peggy, or Margaret. They started calling her Margaret, then they shortened it to Peggy. She was Peggy of the Cove. So now she's known as Peggy. legend as opposed to a reality of some sort, I guess. But this is part of the cove, and as you can see, all the little boats pulled into here, and the little houses up on the rocks. It's really quite picturesque. So here we are at Peggy's Cove, Nova Scotia. Hopefully you can hear me over the tremendous amount of wind. But this would be the little village of Peggy's Cove. And I'll come around and I'll show you the Peggy's Cove lighthouse, which is right there. Pretty little lighthouse. Black rocks because they're very slippery. And every now and then a good blow of wind and the waves come in and pick something and carry them off when they're done. Peggy's Cove, Nova Scotia. Well, instead of a gala dinner at the Citadel, this is as close as I'm ever going to get to it. Because of my late flight in and all the problems with Air Canada, I got nixed out on it last night. In the background you can hear all of the fire engines. Those are actually going to my hotel. Yes, I'm really beginning to wonder how this vacation is going to work out. I'll walk you out here and show you downtown Halifax. I sat down for dinner. I was going to have some dinner and then come up here and do a little video of the city. And as I got sat down, all the power went out in the hotel. And it was like, oh, okay. So I talked to the gal running the place, and she said, well, they're trying to figure out how they're going to make dinner with the power out, and it's not clear whether it's just the hotel or whether it's this part of the city. But anyway, so I figured, well, I will go instead. And this is downtown Halifax, Nova Scotia. And so I thought, well, I'll just leave and I'll go up and hike up here to the Citadel, and then I'll go back down when the power's back on. And as you can see down here, we now have a fully engaged fire department. That's the 5th fire truck that has showed up. They surrounded the building and they're going to take no prisoners. Anyway, so I go into the men's room, which is completely dark, and I'm feeling my way around finding a urinal. That's always fun in the dark. And then as I'm relieving myself, the fire alarm goes off, and I'm thinking, oh, how much more fun can this be? So I left there, and anyway, this is the Citadel. I think it was said 1858 or something like that. It was built. This was the kind of the top military port to protect the city, this is the 2nd largest port, deep water port in the world, and you can see one of the big bridges in the distance there. But anyway, this is probably way more than you wanted to know, but I just am getting quite a chuckle out of the whole thing. So so either all my stuff got burned up in a fire, or I'll be actually able to have dinner and do something later. I don't know. The other thing I'll show you is this gorgeous clock here. The mayor wanted everybody punctual, so he built this clock at the highest Citadel, but still at the highest highest point so that the city can always see what time it is so that they would be punctual to whatever they were going to do. Sounds like a mayor that had a little anal retentive problem, if you excuse the expression. There we go. This is the Titanic burial site for people from the Titanic sinking. These are all of the 112 of them here. A lot of them have no name on them because they don't know who the bodies were. And they were all retrieved and then brought back here and interred. Well, we've driven about 2 hours out of Moncton to see this old covered bridge, which is kind of cool. And I guess the covered bridges are pretty popular in this area of the country, like they are in Ohio. And he said that they're supposed to have the longest covered bridge in the world, supposed to be up here in Nova Scotia, but then they said that people say that it's actually in Maine, so who the hell knows? But this is a covered bridge outside of Moncton. And we have driven over a little bit from the covered bridge, about an hour, and this is actually, believe it or not, the Bay of Fundy. Well, you can't see crap, but that's the bay. Kind of socked in with fog. Hopefully I'll get some better pictures. I guess we come back here, I think, unless he's kidding, later in the week. So, the Bay of Fundy. Well, we've come down a little further, and this is low tide at the Bay of Fundy. Believe it or not, these guys, the water every 6 hours shifts in or shifts out. And right now it's low tide, so these guys are just sitting there on the bottom. And I'm going to walk out a bit here and get a little better view of the water. Well, here again on the shore of the Bay of Fundy, and now the water eventually will get all the way up to the kind of the top of this this break wall here. To give you an idea, that's a lot of incoming water. And I'll just swing you around here. This is the Bay of Fundy. It has the largest tide surges in the world. And I think he said it was 28 feet every 6 hours. And we're here at low tide or near low tide. And eventually this will all come roaring back in a few hours. This will be all full, and then in about 6 or 7 hours, it'll all drop back down again. And unfortunately, we got kind of a miserable day. It's raining very lightly. Could be worse. It could be pouring, so I'm not too unhappy. And but they're rebuilding the docks here, and just behind this metal wall, you can see the tops of the ships there beyond the lift truck. These are the lobster boats apparently that have just come back in. But interesting area, crazy place. Well, while my group is having dinner in this restaurant right in the middle of the screen, I decided to hike out into the Bay of Fundy and just take a look at what it's like. Now, where I'm standing in a few hours will be covered in, I guess, about 20 feet deep of water. You can see this is apparently a little river that's coming in from, Prince Edward Island. That's what we're standing on right now. And eventually this will be waterfront property right up here. And just about every kind of broken stone and rock you can imagine laying here. Some shells. And the poles here, that shows you how deep the water gets. That's lining the channel so that the fishermen can bring their boats back in. And I would assume that the very top of it is where the water ends up coming to. And there's the little, this isn't really a river. What this is the water still draining out of this little bay that they've built for the ships. These are lobster ships. Whoops. You saw them loading the lobster pots on the thing. I was talking to a gal in one of the shops, and she said they have to really time their catches, she said, because they have to be back before the water drops below too low for them to obviously get back into their moorings. And they've got little stools that basically they sit down and the boat ends up sitting on when it gets to the low point. But it does it twice a day, about every 6 hours and 20 minutes or something, they said. And we'll hear more from a naturalist that's going to explain this whole thing a little later this morning. The Bay of Fundy.
That is quick, but it's not that quick. But to give you a sense of scale, the hole in those two rocks, the archway, the Lover's Archway, that's an 18-foot hole. So that tide has to rise 28 feet just to reach the bottom of it, and another 18 feet for our 46 vertical feet of tide.
That's 46 feet of vertical tide is what we're watching. This is amazing. I'm videoing the video that they're showing in the visitor center, which is probably illegal, but 12 and a half hours.
5 hours, that's 4 like a 24-hour day, which means that the tide changes times every day, and we get highs and lows in that 25-hour period. Bear with me. You live by the bay like I do, you get into the sense of rhythm of the bay, everything revolves around tide. This is our way of life. Which means split.
Here is the Bay of Fundy taken from space. Yeah, I rented a spacecraft just so I could do this. It's really impressive. Amazing thing is that you can read the sign from space. But this is where we're at, the Hopewell Rock. And that's where the tides are the highest, is right. This is the Bay of Fundy. So it's the Atlantic Ocean basically being pulled by the sun and the moon at different times that flashes all of this back up into this area. And so we're going to go out and see the Hopewell Rocks. Bay of Fundy. Well, here we are at the Bay of Fundy. These are Hopewell Rocks. And he said that the low tide was about an hour ago, so it's already moved 1/6 of the way up. And he said about 8 o'clock tonight, these people standing in the archway will be completely underwater, and it'll be up onto that rock pretty substantially.
because of our tides, all that mud towards the bottom is agitated. So it never hits the buildings on it.
Bay of Fundy.
Lobsters are mostly fished about a half an hour down.
Okay, and here we are down at the Hopewell Rocks. Here's the arch. Some of our tour group with us. Now that arch will be completely overrun by water and about 10 feet above it. That arch is about 18 feet, he said. And come around and give you a view of the bay. Now that's about an hour up from low tide, so it's already reclaimed about a sixth of the surface. And going around this way, and then we come back to there's the, and that gives you the walkway that we used to get down here. Brand new stairs. He said $900,000 to do it. No wheelchair access. If you were U.S., you'd have to have that. But there is your Hopewell Rocks in the Bay of Fundy. So here again is the Bay of Fundy. Now, he explained to us that during the shift of tides every 6 hours, it comes in and then it reverses, goes back out every 6 hours, 6.5 hours. He said basically 160 billion tons of water go through this narrow inlet on the far end. We're on the very, very end of the Bay of Fundy, the far end. But he said 160 billion tons of water will come through this and fill this bay up and raise the level by 28 feet. And he said, to give you an idea, he said if you've been to Niagara Falls, that would take 2 years of Niagara Falls' production or dumping over to actually equate to the amount of water that they get in 6 hours. So that is pretty amazing. But the Bay of Fundy and Hopewell Rocks, which is what all of these formations are, this is about a mile-long little section of beach or whatever you want to call it. This is the national park, and it's just very small, just focusing on these magnificent structures, these rocks. Very, very pretty. Well worth the trip. I'm going to take and walk you through this little tunnel that's been cut by the... Now he said this is Hopewell conglomerate stone, so it's the equivalent of dropping all of the rivers after the glaciation that dropped all of this material and compacted it, and it turns into, like I say, it's a conglomeration of stones. And
Remember us talking about those cracks opening up? This crack right behind this, I went to do my first tour.
little tree hanging to the cliff.
That will open up and the whole thing will come crashing down. So in 10 years, it's opened up that crack. And then that crack becomes like that one, like the one we walked through, and that's our exit. Yeah, that's the story of Hopewell Rocks. That's why it's happening. And if they all start falling down, well, the geologists told me 100,000 years of this conglomerate going back into.
Well, we've just come over from New Brunswick over to Prince Edward Island. This is the Confederation Bridge. It's about, I think he said total 14 kilometers long. And here's some Canadian flags. And I'll swing you around here, and they've even got a thing of Joseph Stalin over here, which is rather interesting. Here, look at this here. Where's he at? There's these. See, I'll zoom in here. There's statue of Joseph Stalin. Well, okay, no, I think it's a ship captain. Yeah, it looks more like a ship captain, I guess. Could be Stalin, though. Well, we've driven out here on Prince Edward Island to Orby Point. And we've been greeted by this young man. Thank you. Playing bagpipes. And the tradition is to come here and remember a loved one and throw rose petals up in the air. And this is our group enjoying some of them throwing the rose petals. Supposed to think of someone that's passed or someone's beloved to you and throw the rose petals up in the air. Well, we've come out here to the Anne of Green Gables home. Now, in actual fact on this thing, obviously Anne of Green Gables was a fictitious character, so this isn't really her home. But this was, they had so many people coming after the woman wrote the book in 1908 or 09 that the state finally kind of turned this whole area into a park. And so this is the kind of house that she would have lived in. The woman that wrote the book, L.M. Montgomery, this house would have existed and was actually her, what did they say, her cousin's home or something at the time, so she would have known this house, and some of the characteristics of the house and the gardens and the grounds and the locations would have actually been in the book. But again, you do have to remember that Anne was a fictitious character, and they were telling us how they have tens of thousands of Japanese that fly here 5 days, 2 days to get here, a day here, and 2 days to get back to Japan, because they have fallen so in love with the story of Anne of Green Gables. They use it to teach English to the girls in school, and so they come and want to have their picture taken in front of the house, etc. And I'll take and walk you back out. They've got some lovely gardens in the back. Probably give it another month of just getting the marigolds going. But this gives you the kind of the back view and the gardens. And the inside is all filled with antiques that would have been typical of the time frame. And then here are the outbuildings, the barn, and which is now a visitor center and a gift shop, and this is probably a smokehouse, the smaller one, which would have been, is now a restroom. But so this is the Anne of Green Gables estate. Well, we're here in Cape Benton National Park, and I don't know if this will come out on this film or not. This is the weirdest looking thing I've ever seen. It's like a rainbow, but it's a cloud. If you can see, it goes over the building and then it drops down to the water below us. And I can't tell on the screen real well whether it's filming or not. But it's not a rainbow, it's just kind of a circular cloud. And I'm going to walk further down and shoot again to see if it turns into a... Well, now it's disappearing. Huh. Very interesting. Well, here we are at Cape Benton National Park. And this is the part of the hotel we're in. These are the cabins. We're not staying in the cabins. We actually, beyond the red van there, that's our building. And you can see the, this is our building right here. Unfortunately, my room is on the other side overlooking the beautiful parking lot. But I'll take it back you out and just swing you out. You can see the surf coming up. That's very cool. And then I'll back out a little bit and swing you out to show you the beach. And I think she said that the point out here is Old Smoky or something. That right there. And then off in the distance would be Newfoundland would be off in the distance. And I'll just complete coming around here, show you in the parking lot. We just did about a 2.5 mile hike up through the forest with a naturalist, which was very nice. And, so anyway, so that is our accommodations for the next, well, last night and the next 2 nights. Well, good morning. It's a little after 5 o'clock in the morning, and I've come out for God's light, as photographers call it, when the sun is just coming up. And now I find out when these fishermen come out and actually pick up their catches. All along here you can see the tiny buoys, and what these guys are doing is picking up the lobster catches. And whoops, it's always hard to hold this thing. Now the small ones that they can't take are the females. Let's see how close I can get in without. I should have brought my tripod with me. But well, shoot, I guess that was the last one they're doing on this side. Nope, they're going out to another one. Circle around, there's catching the buoy. Put it onto a lift to pull the thing up. There's the box full of bugs. The chef that did a presentation yesterday said that the hotel serves about 50 lobsters per day here, and it's a small restaurant. Yep. Looks like they throw most of them away. And there we go out to the next one. Oh, there's another one going in the hole, and another one. They said they have to throw away if they're smaller than a pound. They got to throw them away. If it's a female with eggs, they've got to throw them back. It's kind of cool to watch. And I'll take and swing you back out here a little bit. Show you some of the sun is just starting to break through here. I'll take and swing around this way. This is the peninsula that we're on. Middlehead Peninsula, I think is what it's called. And then we'll bring you around here. That direction would go out to Newfoundland. And then here is the other side of the bay from where we're at. And I don't know if you can tell, at the foot of these cliffs you can see tiny little fishing boats. And they're all doing the same thing. They're collecting their morning bugs. Because after all, a lobster looks like a big bug, doesn't it? Come on. The ground here is very heavily, has a lot of iron in it, so everything is very red. And here's the beach. Up there is their kind of a failing ski resort. He said that this is just so remote and it's hard to get to, and so they built the ski resort, and it really, they said they get a few people, but not very many. And you can hear the gulls crying in the morning. And this is our building that we're in. And I'm about, it's about 100 foot to the water below us at this point. And here I've come around to the other side of the little peninsula. It's only about at this point about 100 feet wide. And this is their kind of wedding chapel building. They had a couple of weddings since we've been here. That's the building that we're in. And then swing it around, they've got a little spa in the middle there. This is the restaurant, the low-end restaurant, hamburgers and stuff. And then I'll swing you out into the other side of this bay. And must have already picked up the pots on this side, because I see nobody over here. Or they're working their way around to this side, one of the two. But swing you around this way. Very peaceful, calm. Today there's no mist bow. We found out that those were called mist bows that I had a little earlier. And apparently the naturalist said, she said, I don't know. She said, I live here, so she said, we see those a lot. She said, I don't know whether they're everywhere or just happen to be here in this area. But I've certainly never seen a mist bow before. There's an island. The island's owned by an American. We were told they have a guy that comes out a couple of times a year and lives in a house that he built out on there. And you can still see all of the little buoys. All of those represent around here. Well, I can't find one right now. Too far in. Let's see. Anyway, there's buoys all out in here. And those are all lobster pots at the bottom. So, welcome to God's Light. Well, we've begun our drive on the Cabot Trail. This is our first stop. It's Neil's Harbor. It just shows what these little fishing villages would have. The boats are all out right now harvesting the lobsters, pulling in the bugs, as I call it. And so anyway, but this looks somewhat man-made, and then they piled up all this rock to actually form the little harbor. And I don't know over the wind whether you'll be able to hear me or not. You can see these lines, see this line out in the water here. He was explaining that he said what these are is underneath the water they've got boxes full of the lobsters, and what the fishermen do is they come in and they will put them all in there and keep them there and wait for the price of lobster to go up. And so they're just waiting to see if they can get a better price for the lobster. He explained that last year the price of lobster was $3.50 a pound. Now it's $8.50 a pound, and that is being driven by the Asian market, and which means I guess the Chinese have finally found out that this lobster stuff is pretty cool. So anyway, and there's a little lighthouse up on the top here. So this is Neal's Harbor. Well, this is where we're heading. This is Cheticon. And we're on the Cabot Trail still, in the beautiful country, weaving up and down through the hills. And I'll back you out. Out this way is Cheticon Island, and then across the bay there is the little town. That's the church steeple that you can just see in the middle of the thing. That's where we're heading. We're going to have lunch and wander around the city. And then I'll back you out and take you up the coast. Looks kind of like the coast road in US 1 going up the coast of California. So this is the coast. Here's our group, everybody getting their photograph taken. Yeah. There's one in every crowd. It's usually me, but it's him this time, which really takes the pressure off. And, our bus and our driver. Swing around. So there we have it. The drive to Cheticon. Well, Tom has very graciously allowed me to come over here for a couple of minutes. This is the Alexander Graham Bell Museum. Everybody else is eating lunch. They found a guy at the resort that was willing to drive me over. Our bus broke down and it took 4 hours to get a new bus, and that wiped out our time for seeing this museum. And the building is amazing because it looks like it was designed by Frank Lloyd Wright. I mean, every design detail that he would do, but it may have been a student of his. But it is a very cool collection. And but the building and the way that the triangles all meet up, the entry and in the gift shop and stuff, I just was looking at fascinated by the building itself. And this is the other thing that Bell was, of course, the inventor of the telephone and a variety of other instruments. But some of the things he experimented with, this is an airplane that he designed. And below it is a mock-up of the hydroplane that he designed, and they ran on the water course outside. He did several of these. The actual hull of the original one is there, and this is the reconstruction so that you can see exactly. And it had the huge engines on the sides, and and the hydroplanes down on the bottom. And this was, I think, 1910 or something like that, and the plane was like 1908. The Silver Spur or the Silver something or other. And he also developed the concept for these dihedral kites that he tried to perfect. anyway, hydrofoils, airplanes, this guy did it all. Alexander Graham Bell.
So you're going to notice a few things. I'm going to change in tempo a little bit. And so I'll start with slow air and then into some other quick tempo stuff.
Scottish would work on the cloth. These women are would sing this song, and they will do it for 6 or 7 hours as they break down the fabric and make it more soft and supple. Well, we've got to our last, this is Liscombe River, and we've gotten to our last hotel here on this trip. And well, we're kind of located in the middle of the the thing is this wonderful little waterfall. You can see it looks like it's beer flowing over it. That's the tannin, which you see in Scotland a lot also. It's the water filtering through all of the plant material as it comes, out of out of the ground, and it has a tendency to kind of taint everything this kind of a brown color. Anyway, it's really lovely area. The mosquitoes are kind of carrying me off. Ouch. Literally. But I don't know if you can see them in front of the screen. They're buzzing all over the place. But so I'm going to try to get out of here before I get drunk down to the point where I can't walk back to the hotel room. But this is the Linscomb River, and our last stop before we fly home tomorrow. And so that is. Oh, now I got them on the screen too. They're really aggressive. I'm down a quart. I've only been here for a minute.